Hi, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In this video, I'm talking about all things Project Life. This has been one of my favorite projects since I started it in 2013. And I know a lot of you have expressed interest in possibly starting this project too. So if you are interested in this project, either starting it new or just learning a bit more about it, go ahead and stick around. Okay, so I'm going to flip through some of my Project Life albums from over the years just while I do this voiceover and give you a little introduction to what Project Life is. So that's really the first question that I get frequently. What is Project Life? Well, Project Life is a project that was invented by Becky Higgins, although her brand no longer really supports this project in its original form, although a lot of people still create this project how she originally designed it. The general idea of Project Life is twofold. One, to document the everyday of your life. So years ago, scrapbooking used to be focused more on big events. You would scrapbook weddings, you would scrapbook vacations, you would scrapbook birthdays, but you didn't really scrapbook the everyday life. And some people probably did, but it just wasn't that prominent in the industry. So Project Life was really interesting and new in that area because everyday documenting wasn't something that a lot of people did. Now there are so many ways that people document their everyday, not just in Project Life, but in things like journals, in memory planners. There's so many different ways that you can document your everyday life, not just Project Life, that are on the market and for people to choose from, which is amazing. But second, Project Life provided an opportunity for people who weren't super crafty necessarily, or who didn't do traditional scrapbooking, to create a scrapbook that was easier to make. And what I mean by that was that Project Life uses divided page protectors. Now, some people do use the term Project Life to talk about projects that are just everyday documenting and don't use divided page protectors, but that's not really what I'm going to talk about in my intro video here. I do just want a disclaimer though that whatever you want to do or however you want to make this project your own, that's great. You don't have to follow the guidelines that I lay out in this video. I'm just giving you an introduction to both what this project was and is and how I do it. So back to the introduction. This project is usually done with divided page protectors, and these are kind of like photo albums. If you've seen older photo albums where there's just pockets where photos are slipped in and there's not really any scrapbooking done, and it's just a place to hold those photo prints. And that can be all that Project Life is if that's what you want it to be. It does not need to be any more complicated than that. So Project Life is very simple. Basically, you take photos and slip them into divided page protectors to document your life. In addition to the photos, you can include journaling and other cards, which are typically called filler cards. So each of the pockets you would fill with specific products, and those would either be a photo, a journaling card where you can add some words, or a filler card, which is pretty much just decorative. Cards tend to come in two sizes, 4x6, which you can see in my projects are the horizontal photos or pockets, and 3x4, which are the vertical ones that you can see from my projects. These are inches, by the way. If you are someone who works in centimeters, I don't actually know the conversion, but I'm sure that it is easy to find on the internet. Okay, now that I've provided a little bit of an overview of what Project Life is, let's talk about what goes into a Project Life spread. So first, you're going to need to decide what your time frame is. There are really 3 different ways that you can do a Project Life spread, at least that I have seen. I'm sure there are many other ways that you could come up with. Really, the possibilities are endless. The original and most common way, and the way that I do Project Life, is a weekly spread. And that means that each spread in your album represents 1 week in your life. So for example, this right here is the week of January 30th through February 5th. And this includes all of my photos and stories from that week. The second way that you could do this would be monthly, and that would be where instead of putting the week dates here, I would just put the month, so January, and I would tell my January stories. A lot of people who do monthly don't fit it all into one spread. They might do 2 spreads or 3, or however many they need to document that month, and then they'll move on to the next month. The third and final way that I know to do Project Life is just to kind of go with the flow approach, where you add stories as you have them in chronological order, and wherever you run out of stories, you just flip to the next page and you just keep going, which I would tend to call that the go with the flow approach. I do Project Life weekly generally. I have done both of those other options in the past. I did go with the flow in, I want to say 2015, and I did monthly in 2014. But besides that, I have always done weekly, and really I like that best. So now let's talk about specifically what is in each spread. And I'm going to talk about a weekly spread, but you can adapt this to any format. So you're going to have a title card. Now, of course, you don't have to do any of these things. If you don't want a title card, you don't need one, but I tend to put that on the top left corner, and I think this is pretty common, and this is going to hold your dates. So here you can see I have that one there. Here I have it as a small 3x4, just based on the format of the week. In addition to your title card, you're going to have your photos. So I print my photos either 3x4 or 4x6. You can also print smaller photos and adhere them onto cards and stuff if you want to get more creative. But the original kind of easy format is to print your photos as 4x6 and 3x4. Next, you're going to have journaling. Journaling cards are cards like this one where you just add some words. You journal about what happened. You can either use cards like this where it's pre-made and you just write into it, or cards like this where I created this myself and then I added a embellishment on there to add a little bit of decor. Next, you're going to have filler cards. So filler cards are cards like this one where it's just decorative. There's no story, there's no photos, and that's just kind of to fill out the spread and have fun. After you have those things, you can go ahead and add embellishments. You can add other little decorations. You can add ephemera. So like this is a piece of a wrapper from this week that is a candy bar that I had. So I love that I included that in here. You also can add like screenshots. So here's a screenshot of a Zoom call I did. And there are other ones. So like here is this screenshot of my weather app. So you can add screenshots of things that are going on in your life. You can add text messages. Anything that you collect from the week is fair game to include in your spread. Okay, let's talk about supplies. The first thing you're going to need is an album. If you're going to do a weekly documenting like I do, you typically need 2 albums per year, but you could need more depending on the size you go with. So the standard size is the 12x12 album, and these things are massive. I have done them in the past. I'm not doing those anymore. I am now doing the 9x12 size. So this is the size I used for 2023 and am going to use in 2024. I have also seen people do the 6x12 size, and you can do the 6x8 size. So here's an example of a 6x8 album that you could do. So the main idea with your album is you need something that is divisible by 3 and 4. So doing a size like 8.5 by 11 doesn't work as well because you can't really divide it by 8 or by 3 and 4 very well. Now, some people have done the 10 by 8 size, which is a little bit harder to divide by 3s and 4s, but you can. But basically, you need an album that divides evenly for the size pocket cards that you're going to use. And if you are brand new to Project Life, that might be a little bit confusing, but we're going to get into that because the next thing you need are the divided page protectors. So it's hard to see these on camera because they are, like transparencies. So here's some that don't have anything in them. So here's like the standard 12x12 size. Let me just pull this album over. So the standard 12x12 size is going to be this size page protector. And this size has 4x6 and 3x4 pockets. So these are in inches.
I don't know what that is in centimeters, but they do go by inches. So it's 3 inches across by 4 inches tall in the vertical pockets, and 6 inches across by 4 inches tall in the 4x6 or the horizontal pockets. So you often will hear people talk about 4x6 and 3x4 because those are the standard sizes. Now you can get creative. There are ones that have like 4x4 pockets or 3x3 or 2x2, but these are the 2 standard sizes. So if you are brand new to Project Life, you're gonna wanna start with page protectors that have just these 2 configurations on them. If you're doing 12x12, this is the standard Design A page protector. And these were from Becky Higgins, who created Project Life. She doesn't sell them anymore, but there are some vendors that do. And I will link a bunch of beginner supplies down below in the description. But I would recommend using this page protector for all of your spreads when you're first getting started to get familiar with the setup of the spread before you even dive into trying other things. If you don't want to do the 12x12 size, so I'm doing the 9x12 size, you're going to need a different configuration. So this one here has 3x4 pockets only. There are also ones, let's see. Okay, so this week on this spread, I had this layout, which has 2 4x6 pockets and 5 3x4 pockets. You can also see there's also this one that has 9 3x4, and there's various configurations. You can kind of just see in your brain how you could organize maybe another 4x6 here rather than these 3x4s. So you can kind of see how it plays out, and the 2 3x4s together make 1 4x6, and that kind of gives you the option of doing vertical versus horizontal. So page protectors are the second thing that you need. Beyond page protectors and albums, you don't really need a ton. You need probably a pen, you need cards of some sort of card, and then you need your photos. So you don't need all the embellishments. Some of my pages are way more embellished than others. Let's see, like here's one where I have like more embellishments going on. Or not, like honestly, I don't have that many. I have some. I'm trying to find one where I did more embellishing. But like I do a fairly simple spread. Okay, so for example, here's one where I did a little bit more detail. So I have like these story cards, and I have more like chipboard and different things on there. I tend to do a fairly simple spread, so I can't find one that has like a ton of embellishments, and but you could make each little pocket its own kind of standalone scrapbook page, or you can simply slip your photos in, slip your words and cards, and call it done. So you are going to need a way to get your photos edited and printed, and a pen or something to do journaling. Then you're going to need cards or some other embellishment or different things to go into the pockets. Now you don't need a kit specifically for this, but I like to work with kits, and I recommend using a kit in the beginning, especially if you don't have a lot of supplies, because it is very helpful to have just one kit. So my top pick for working in Project Life is the Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit. And this kit comes with a lot of cards. So you've got the 3x4 cards, you've got 4x6 cards, you also have vellum ones, you have some die cuts, chipboard, and stickers. And you get a kit every single month, and these are very reasonably priced. And they are typically themed for the month and have a lot of things to tell your stories, everyday moments, right now, some cute quotes. Here's a calendar. These are just super, super cute. So that is one that is very easy to use in Project Life. Another one is Cocoa Daisy, and the kits at Cocoa Daisy come out like a month in advance. So the January kits are actually both out from both of these. So the January kit from Ali Edwards released on the 13th, which if you're watching this video when it first came out, that was yesterday. And the Cocoa Daisy January kit released on the 28th of November, but it's still available. I'm not sure if this one actually is sold out, but typically they're available for the full month. The kits from Ali Edwards are also available for the full month until the 13th of the following month. So for Cocoa Daisy, this is a much higher price point than the Ali Edwards, but you get way more supplies for it. So I would say that the Ali Edwards one, I love this kit. I don't use this exclusively in my album, and if you're going to do weekly spreads, this might not be enough, but it really depends on your style. So the Cocoa Daisy kit comes with pattern papers, there's some puffy stickers, there's some rub-ons, and these are different every month, but you typically get the papers. I've got these puffy stickers, some additional stickers, chipboard pieces, a stamp, wood veneer, die cuts, and what are these called? Enamel dots. Plus I've got the 4x6 cards and the 3x4 cards. And there's a lot of them. So this kit has a lot in it. I think that if you wanted to just do one kit, you could use this for an entire month in your album. These are themed for the month. So you have something that is going to be, that's going to match the month, but they do also have like another theme. So this one you can see is kind of like celestial themed, right? There's a lot of things like about the moon and like stars in this kit. Every kit is going to have a different theme, and until the kit reveals, you're not going to know what that theme is. The Ali Edwards one, on the other hand, does not have a theme per se. It's just kind of themed for that month, but it does have a different color scheme every month. And you can look at the kits from previous years to get ideas of what the colors are in the kits in the current year. That said, these are just the two kits that I'm going to be working with in Project Life in 2024. I do have supplies from a lot of other brands. There are a lot of other brands that make fun kits. So if you are in the market for looking for a kit, I would suggest searching for those, going on some forums that discuss Project Life, maybe joining a Facebook group that discusses Project Life to look for some ideas for different kits. I will also list some that I have used in the past down below. And if you are watching this and you subscribe or use a kit from a different company that I haven't mentioned, please leave that down below in the comments so other people can find that information. Okay, before we move on to actually working on this project, I wanted to share one more type of product, and those were the original kits of Project Life from Becky Higgins. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Project Life was a project that was created by Becky Higgins. I don't think she has much left that she sells related to this project. She does now have an app for a digital version, which is, in my opinion, a very different project. But as far as the original Project Life, there were these kits, and these were designed for you to use for an entire year. So for example, here's one that I have not even opened. I got it on clearance, and it comes with 3x4 and 4x6 cards. And I just wanted to show you a couple so that you could see the different designs, but there were so many of these that were available. I don't have close to all of them, but here's another one that was more colorful, and these come with multiples of the same cards. So for example, right here, you can see this one, there's, you know, so many of this one, and then there's a numbered version on the back. And these were great if you want to keep this project super, super simple and do a lot of repetition. There's a lot of cards like this that are going to be like a filler one. There are ones like this where you can do journaling. And then there's some pattern ones like this, which are great for attaching like tickets or something and putting those into the pocket. Or you can just use this as a decoration. You can add an embellishment on it, or you can add a smaller photo. So there's a lot of options that you can do with a kit like this. If you want a smaller investment, this might be the way to go. The problem is I'm not entirely sure where you can get these anymore. I'm going to look, and if I see any available on Amazon, I will put the links down below. This I got it like Tuesday morning for $6.99. I think these originally retailed for maybe like $30 or $25, but this kit is supposed to last you for the entire year. So unlike the other kits that I just talked about where you need or you get a new kit each month, this is going to last you for a full year. That said, if you are someone who wants a lot of variety throughout the year and kind of might get bored with the same thing over and over again, this might not be for you. This also only includes the cards. There are no embellishments in here, which you would need to purchase those separately or not use them if you're going to work with one of these kits. Okay, so now that we have talked all about the basics of what is Project Life, I want to share with you guys a little bit about how I keep up with this project or create all of my spreads during the year. So the first thing I do is I set up my album. So I think I mentioned at the beginning, I keep 2 albums per year. So this is the second half of 2023. I've already purchased my albums for 2024. I have not yet set those up. But basically what I do is I just put the page protectors in here. So for the week, so this was the last week that I created that I shared here, which was the week of October 16th through 22nd, 2023. The next week is going to be October 23rd through 29th. So what I've done is just added a sticky note on here that lets me know what the week is. Sometimes I will add notes on here about what happened from the week if you want to remember that way. You can also make a note on here what kit you're going to work with, different things like that could be very useful. So I have a spread in here, and you can see I have another one for the following week, October 30th through November 5th. So I've already selected the page protectors I'm going to use for those spreads. Now this side I have 9 3x4s, and this side I have 2 4x6 pockets. Something to keep in mind when working on your spreads is this week here had 9 3x4s, so the following week is going to also have 9 3x4s, just on the opposite side because it's the next page. Then what I do is I add a standard 8.5 by 11 page protector in here temporarily to capture things. So during this week, I went to a fort, and so I collected some ephemera. I went to Fort Ticonderoga with some friends, and I also picked up this while I was there. So I have these, and all I did was I just slipped them in this pocket right as the week happened, so they are there when I'm ready to put the spread together. I also print and edit my photos at home. Some people edit and print their photos and send them away to get them printed. They send them to a local store such as like Walmart that is, local to them, or they send them away to an online company like Persnickety Prints to get those photos printed. If you do that and you need to print your photos a lot at a time, that's totally fine, but I would recommend putting them in these pockets like this until you're ready to put the spread together. So you can see I have this week with all of my things in the pocket. I have this week with my photos in the pocket, and I have a third week here, November 6th through 12th, with photos in the pocket. So when I'm ready to create, I just need to come to my desk and pull everything out of this pocket, pull my kit that I'm going to be working with, and start putting my spread together. Okay, so in addition to the photos and the ephemera, which I have slipped in here, I also want to keep track of the words or stories. So I do that by keeping my Hobonichi cousin, which I have plenty of flip through videos of those if you want to see that separately. And I will link the most recent one up the eye for you. But here's what this week looks like. So October 23rd through 29th in my Hobonichi cousin. Now it is December, so I wouldn't necessarily remember if you said off the top of my head what happened on October 23rd. I don't know, but I have some notes here about what I had going on, and I just made these during the day. I tend to try to do this every day. Sometimes I will do a couple days at a time, just depending on my schedule, but this takes way less time than this. So I'm doing this right as I'm living life. And then when I'm ready to put my spread together, I have this as a reference to do my journaling. I know a lot of people keep a daily journal or some sort of planner to have reference for the information that they want to include in their project life. There are also a lot of apps that are good at this. One that I used to use was called the Day One app. I highly recommend it. I used that up through 2022. And then in 2023, I switched to a paper planner where I did my journaling instead. If you don't keep notes, if you forget to keep notes, if you don't think you can keep up with that and you still want to participate in this project, that's totally fine. You can use other things as evidence of your stories from the week. If you keep a planner or a calendar just for life purposes to track appointments and that type of thing, that is a great reference or to trigger your memory of what happened in a certain week. You also can just do quick notes here on a sticky note. You can look at your photos to get evidence of what happened. If you asked me without my planner in front of me, what did I do on October 28th? I probably would not be able to tell you. But now that I see this photo of my friend Teresa and I standing on top of this mountain, I know we went for a hike that day, and I can remember that. And I can remember a little bit about the story too. If you don't keep notes or detailed notes, your journaling is probably not going to be as in-depth, but that doesn't mean that this project isn't still worthwhile. It's tons of fun to document your life, and I love Project Life for this. I also want to make a note that some people do like to keep this project while you're living life. And what I mean by that is you would flip to a whole new week, which I don't even have set up in here, and say this is the current week. And I would just have this out on my desk as I'm living life, and I would just make notes and add things into the pockets as I go about my day. Similar to how people do a lot of journaling where they do it on the same day, you can do Project Life that way. Personally, that does not work for me because I am just so busy all of the time and I don't have time to craft on a regular basis. So for me, that doesn't work. I have done it here and there for specific weeks. I just don't like it as an everyday thing. For me, I feel like this project is manageable and stress-free because I keep this, because I organize my photos, and I keep my ephemera in here so that whenever I get to doing this spread, everything is there. Right now in December, I am focusing on December daily. So I might not get to work on the spread soon. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I'm not worried at all about forgetting anything because I have this as a reference. And that is kind of what I want you to take away from this video. I think a lot of people are concerned about starting this project because of the time commitment, and you really don't need to do it when you don't feel like it. You don't need to keep up with it. This is a project that can be there when you want it to be. I also want to point out that this is all valuable. The fact that I have all this documented is great. If I just quit right now, if I just felt like not doing this anymore, it's totally fine. All of this is still just as meaningful as it would be if I had a completed album. I love Project Life. I absolutely do. I highly, highly, highly recommend this project to anyone who is interested in daily memory keeping, anyone who loves to document with their photos, wants a place to keep all that ephemera of life, wants to journal a bit more, and wants to maybe dip their toes into scrapbooking. I highly recommend this project. I am going to be participating in Project Life for the 12th year, starting in 2024, and I hope so much that you will join me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you feel like I didn't touch on anything that is important, please leave that down below. I will try to address things in follow-up videos if I feel like that's needed, or over on my Instagram. Thank you guys so much for being here. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.